Okay, hello students. We're looking at the simple interest formula today again. But what we want to do is to rearrange this formula to find one of the values on the right hand side of the equation. So we're going to find strategies for solving P, R or T. So we need to be able to manipulate or transpose this equation. So let's have a look at our first example here. How long will it take for an investment of $4,000 at an interest rate of 4% to earn $800 simple interest? What I'd like you to do when you face one of these questions is, first of all, let's just make a list: I, P, R and T. And then we need to identify the three bits of information that you're given. So we've got a $4,000, we've got a 4%, and we've got a $800 in simple interest. Now I can also see the question is alluding to something. It's saying, how long, isn't it? So what the question is asking for is time. But let's just prove that by finding the other bits of information first of all. We have an investment of $4,000. Now it's that I, P, R or T. Now that looks like an investment. So remember, a loan of money or a big bunch of money that you're going to put into the bank is going to be investment, whereas a loan is a big bunch of money you take out of the bank. Now we have an interest rate of 4% per annum. Now I can write this in a few different ways. I can write it as 4%, I can write it as 4 over 100, or I could write it as 0.04. Now I personally prefer the one on the right hand side because that will just make it easier in the long run if you understand that. Now the last one is $800 simple interest. So this is going to be $800 here. Now we know that it's asking for time, so we need to consider this formula. I equals P R, oops, I'm about to write the R instead of the P. So P R T. Now, what I would like to consider is, how do we get from this formula here to finding out what just time equals? I'm going to do this in a couple of steps. Actually, I only need to do one step, because what I can do is I can divide both sides by P and R. And this is P, R, T, and I divide this side by P and R. Now any number divided by itself is going to be 1. So I can just divide both sides by a constant amount, which is both the same on the left and the right hand side of the equation, and it will be all fine. Now I'm just going to write this with the T on the left hand side, so we're going to go I over P R. Now I can just substitute and solve. So I over PR, so we've got $800 over the principal, which is 4,000, times the rate, which is 0.04. Now on the calculator, just fire up my calculator. Let's have a look. I'm just going to do this. So we go 800 over 4,000 times 0.04, and that's going to equal 5. So if we make sense of this, how long should it take? It should take 5 years for the investment of $4,000 to reach $800 with an interest rate of 4%. Now, when you've finished this, you've just got this underlined, you can just write that back there. Let's have a look at another example. And this one is calculating another value. So let's have a look. I equals P equals R equals and T equals. So let's highlight what we know. We've got how much needs to be invested at an interest rate of 6% per annum for 3 years to earn $1,400, $1,440 simple interest. So, have I been given an interest? I have indeed. That's that 1,440. Have I been given a principal? No, it's saying how much, isn't it? So that's going to tell me that. Yes, that question is actually looking for principal. Now we've got the rate. Yes, we've got 6%. Now, as I said, I can write this a variety of different ways. 6% is the same as saying 6 over 100 or 0.06. And as I said, I prefer to write it as a decimal because it's easier in the long run. And then the time is 3 years. Now we just need to rearrange this equation. So we'll state our equation first. I equals PRT. And then we want to isolate P. So if I divide both the left and the right hand sides by R and T, I can cancel out R and T. So I over RT equals P. So I'm just going to rewrite that. P equals I over RT. And then I'm just going to substitute in from my list up here. So the hard work in a lot of these questions is first identifying the information that you're given. Then you want to figure out what the question is asking for. And then you get the I equals PRT formula and rearrange it and then substitute. There's a few steps, but let's have a look how it goes. So we've got I, what was I? I was 1,440. Our rate was 0.06. And our time was 3. So we'll grab our calculator and work into that. So we've got 1,440 over 0.06 multiplied by 3, and this will give us $8,000. So what do we need to know? We need to say that $8,000 needs to be invested. So this is where we write our $8,000. Needs to be invested for 3 years at 6% per annum to earn $1,440. When you've copied down the appropriate notes, please, Year 9, I'd like you to work on the mastery exercises for the day.